The winning blueprint presents.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
Woo! Welcome. You are in the lab room. I'm your host, Luke. Thank you for joining me. It is Thursday, and it is a whirlwind of news in the National Football League today. So let's not delay. Let's get right to the proceedings this evening. The Jaguars find a head coach, and I said that it was going to be later rather than sooner that they would find a head coach. I thought that they would be among the last teams to find a head coach. And they came to the party late in terms of trying to find a head coach because they fired their head coach later than everyone else did. Yet they still were able to name their head coach before one other team. We started with 8 teams without head coaches, and then there was just one, as the Jacksonville Jaguars today named Gus Bradley, the defensive coordinator or ex-defensive coordinator of the Seattle Seahawks, their new head coach. And so the Jaguars elect to go defensive-minded. And I think after having Jack Del Rio, they wanted to go in a different direction and hire someone who had an offensive background. After really struggling with malarkey at the controls, now they decided, let's go back to the defensive side of the football and get a defensive-minded head coach. And so Gus Bradley is their man. And now the Jaguars have their GM in place and David Caldwell. And now they have Gus Bradley in place as their head coach. So they're ready to start making preparations for their offseason now. And good for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They need some stability in that franchise. They need to find what direction it is that they want to go in and just go full speed ahead in that direction. And so they got their GM, they have their head coach. Now they need to figure out the next order of business. Is Blaine Gabbert good enough to start for our franchise? If not, you need to move on. Don't allow this mistake to linger if it is in fact a mistake. If it isn't, you need to figure it out and figure out what it's going to take to get him on the right track. But you don't have time to be wasting with Blaine Gabbert. If he's not good, figure out who you can get in there that is good and keep it moving. So that's a huge bit of news today as the Jaguars get their man. And now it's just the Arizona Cardinals left to decide who will be their next head coach. And we'll stay tuned for the Arizona Cardinals and figure out what they're going to do next, as they're the last team to decide who their head coach will be moving forward. We got coordinator news today. The San Diego Chargers have selected Ken Whisenhunt, the ex-Arizona Cardinals head coach, as their offensive coordinator. And that's a surprising move. Mike McCoy, offensive coordinator of the Broncos, you're thinking that he's going to want to have a say-so in the play calling. And it wasn't going to surprise me if he decided, hey, I'm going to call plays. He's been doing it for the last 4 or 5 seasons in Denver. And so it wouldn't have surprised me if he would have decided to call plays. But he said, no, I'm going to call Ken Whisenhunt in, bring him in as our offensive coordinator. And that's a smart move. When you're a head coach, you've got so much on your plate. The last thing you need to be worrying about is play calling duties on game day. Let someone else handle that. You need to have control of what's going on the field. You need to have control of your players. You need to have a pulse of your team. I say that a lot. Having the pulse of your team is important. You need to know what's going on in the game. You need to be able to manage the clock, manage your timeouts, manage your personalities on the field, manage everything that's going on in the game. You need to be a micromanager on game day. And you can't do that when you're worried about calling offensive plays. And so let that be the duty of someone else. And I think that was a smart move. And I told you, Ken Whisenhunt was going to get work. Now, I didn't know if it was going to be in a offensive coordinator capacity or a head coaching capacity. But I said, either way, he's good at what he does. He's going to find work. And so he's an offensive coordinator for the San Diego Chargers. And trust me, mark my words, Ken Whisenhunt will get another job as a head coach here shortly. May not be this season, as we already see he's going to be an offensive coordinator. May not be next season. But somewhere down the line, Ken Whisenhunt will be introduced as someone's new head coach. Guarantee you that. He's a very, very good head coach. And if he gets the job done in San Diego and they turn it around and they start winning games and his offense goes back to being explosive, he'll be a hot commodity. He'll be a very talked about name around the league, and he'll be someone's coach. So Ken Whisenhunt is no longer on the market looking for work, as he is now the new offensive coordinator in San Diego. There's so much news today. As I said, it's a whirlwind of news today on this Thursday edition of In the Lab Room. I want to address this quickly before I forget because it's so much news. It's a jam-packed show. I could easily forget to mention this. In some related news to that Gus Bradley hiring in Jacksonville, he leaves as the Seattle Seahawks defensive coordinator to go and be the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. So there's an opening in Seattle for the defensive coordinator position. Well, they didn't waste any time filling it. As Bradley was announced as the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Seattle quickly moved in on Dan Quinn, the defensive coordinator at the University of Florida. He has ties to the NFL. He's been a D-line coach. He's been a coach in the National Football League at several different stops. And so he's not foreign to the league. He's going to come in. He's known as a great teacher. He's going to come in, coach up this defense, and he's going to have big shoes to fill because Gus Bradley had this defense playing at a high level in Seattle. They were a very fierce defense, especially at home. They were one of the best, and they led the league in fewest points given up on the season, and so he can't come in and have this defense be subpar. They have to play at a high level, and that's what they're going to expect out of Dan Quinn, and we're going to see if he can come in and get the job done. There's no grace period for him. This team is good. They're ready to go. They were one play away from going to the NFC Championship game. And so there's no grace period for him. There's no learning curve. He has to come in and get it done right away. So let's move on. There's more news to get to on this Thursday. I told you that I was going to be very excited and the sky would be the limit if Norv Turner was the offensive coordinator in Cleveland. There have been reports that he was thinking about being a coordinator in Cleveland. And now the sky is the limit in Cleveland on offense because Norv Turner is the offensive coordinator of the Cleveland Browns. It has been made official today. He will be their offensive coordinator. Now they have two brilliant offensive minds coaching up Brandon Weeden and Rob Chudzinski and now Norv Turner. If he doesn't get it now, he's not going to get it in the National Football League because he's going to get the best tutelage of his life is Brandon Weeden. And this offense, I expect it to take off and really test the limits of the AFC North because this is a division known for defense. Well, I think the Browns are really going to start scoring some points in the AFC North. The sky's the limit for this offense, and Norv Turner will be able to get the most out of this offense. It's been said many times by myself that this Cleveland Browns offense has immense talent. Offensive line, one of the best in the league. Quarterback has great potential. Wide receivers, very young, very talented, very physical, very fast. Tight ends, very athletic, can get it done, can catch the football. This is a potentially explosive group on offense for the Cleveland Browns. If you put Norv Turner together with Rob Chudzinski, look out AFC, here comes the Cleveland Browns. Young, potentially explosive offense, plus Rob Chudzinski, plus Norv Turner equals question mark. But I tell you what, I like the sound of that question mark. It's not a question mark, it's a question mark. Oh, I don't know. Whoa, watch out. These Cleveland Browns could be something to deal with in the 2013 season. I tried to tell anyone that would listen, you don't want Norv Turner in Cleveland. You don't want it. the AFC North has been put on notice. I'm putting you on notice right here today. January 17th, you've been put on notice. The Cleveland Browns have just become a real contender in the AFC North. No, I didn't stutter. That's how much Norv Turner means to this team, because he can coach them up, and he's going to get Brandon Weeden playing better football. I guarantee it. Look out for the Browns. So that's a touchdown. We're going to tackle this quick extra point. A lot of news we got to today. A lot of things are occurring. And of them, the Manti Te'O situation. And first, before I even get to that, I never really came back and addressed Notre Dame being absolutely embarrassed on national television for the national championship against Alabama. That was, without a doubt, one of the funniest things, because I'm a Notre Dame fan, but I don't take my Notre Dame fandom seriously. Not like I do with the Redskins and some of my other teams that I like. I'm like a Notre Dame fan that I love the Fighting Irish. I'm not going to sit here and act like I don't, but I don't really get overly mad when they lose. Not like I do when the Redskins lose or, you know, one of my other teams that I follow. I really don't get that mad when Notre Dame loses. It's because I guess I've grown accustomed to Notre Dame not being a very good team over the last decade or so. We've been really subpar, and it was fun to be on this ride and to see us get back to a point where we're relevant in the national landscape. But this game just knocked us back down a few pegs, and rightfully so. We're not at the level yet that we need to be, and I thought I just needed to say that. I never came back and addressed that beatdown. I guess I had selective memory, and I just decided to delete that from the memory bank. But yeah, we were absolutely thoroughly spanked in front of everyone. Alabama pulled our pants down, took out a paddle, took out a belt, and absolutely beat us in front of everyone. We got our draws handed to us. But Manti Te'O has this controversy with the girlfriend. Remember, she was supposed to have passed away. It was supposed to be an emotional time for him. Girlfriend passes away. Grandma passes away. Lots going on in his life. It seemed like a ploy for him to try to win the Heisman. Get more attention. Just like Notre Dame asked Joe Theismann to change his name to Theismann when it's really Theismann. This is another Notre Dame ploy to try to get attention to the school. What a joke that was. But I'm here to say that, does this affect his draft status, his draft stock? It shouldn't. It might. I don't think it will. Does him going out and doing this, because I really believe Notre Dame had a big hand in this. If you think that he acted alone in this, you're fooling yourself. Notre Dame probably had as much to do with him doing this as he had to do with this. So don't fool yourself into thinking that Notre Dame had nothing to do with this. And so, does this affect his play on the field? Does this affect the type of football player that he is? No. So why do I care? I honestly, I don't care. This could have been somebody from Alabama. This could have been someone from Florida. It's not just because he's from Notre Dame. This doesn't affect his play on the field. So I don't care. Simple as that. The people in the media, and I need to stop saying the people in the media and distancing myself from those in the media, because one day I plan on being part of that same very media, but I don't consider myself one of them, because I feel like the media makes a lot out of nothing, and they want a story, so they'll take the smallest thing and blow it out of proportion. Who cares about this? Why does this matter? Is this an indication of bad character? He didn't do drugs. He didn't take money. He didn't take money illegally on the college level. He made up a nice little white lie to try to enhance his stock to win the Heisman Trophy. He wanted people to feel sorry for him, pay attention to him, and win the Heisman Trophy. Yeah, it wasn't right morally, but who cares? Who cares? Is it a crime? No, it's not a crime. It's a dumb mistake that he made to try to win the Heisman Trophy. And he didn't win, and we knew he wasn't going to win. Whoever wins the Heisman Trophy as a defensive player, who does that? There's always going to be some offensive player that outshines the defensive guy, and they're going to win it. So It was a nice ploy by him in Notre Dame. It didn't work. At the end of the day, I don't care. If he can play football, sign me up. And that's going to do it for the Lab Room. Thank you for joining me on this Thursday afternoon. Many ways to contact the show. There's Facebook. In the Lab Room is the Facebook page. Like it. Every video I've ever done is on that Facebook page. There's Twitter. @In the Lab Room is the Twitter handle. Would love to tweet with you. Follow me on Twitter. There's YouTube. Louis T is the page. Subscribe. Every video I've ever done, as you can imagine, is on that YouTube page. It's the most easy and efficient way to get your hands on the show or to contact me is through YouTube. Anything that you do on any one of those social media sites comes directly to the inbox. That's inthelaBroom@gmail.com. If you want to drop something in there directly, feel free to do so. I will respond to you immediately. I get all of my emails instantly, and I'll respond to you at my earliest convenience. I thank you for joining me on today's program. And as always, I want to see you back here same time, same place. And as always, I tell you the same thing, and I genuinely mean it. Have a good one. Take care of yourself. See you tomorrow. And remember, stay tuned. Later on today, there will be another lab follow-up. This time, it will be the New York Jets. A lot to get to about that team, so stay tuned for the lab follow-up of the New York Jets. See you later.